welcome to today's video. Today is actually a little bit of a longer one. I intended for this video to be short, but when I got done, I thought that I would add a section where I tell you whether or not I think this is worth DIYing or if you should just go ahead and buy it. So what I'm making is this curtain rods, and I'll put a couple of pictures here so you guys can see where I got the inspiration from. I decided to make two of them, and I have a really long one that I need to finish. I made all the back plates that I'm showing you how to do. I just didn't get around buying the actual rod because I forgot to get it and I just didn't want to go back and get it. Okay, so we went to Home Depot and we picked up this rod, and this is actually a closet rod. Actually, we found an oak closet rod, and then we went back to the other aisle where the other trim and lumber is, and we found this one that is pine. So obviously the oak is nicer and it was a little bit more expensive. It was like $6 more, I think. So we went with the pine because I'm gonna stain it anyway. This was $20 for 8 feet, and this one is 1 1/4. And then we picked up this other piece, and this one is slightly thicker. So this one is 1 7/16, so almost 1.5 inches. And this one you could buy by the foot. So we picked up 1.5 feet. And what we're gonna do with this one is that I'm gonna use it as a trim at the end of the other pole. Each window is about 3 feet, so I figured I'd have an extra foot for the fabric to go on the sides of the window, and it would look really nice. I'm gonna start by cutting the ends of this so that I have smooth ends all around, and then I'm gonna mark 4 feet and cut it right at the middle. If you don't have a miter saw, you can have it cut at Home Depot, or you can do it by hand like I did on this little one. It is a pain in the butt, but you can do it. The next step is to give everything a light sanding just so that there's no splinters and it's really smooth. Don't get too crazy, just a little light sanding will be fine. Once everything was smooth, I moved inside to the workbench to kind of try and measure everything and mark where I was going to pre-drill all my holes. Kitty, little mama, big papa, had come around to the house and he was just asking for attention. He would not let me work. So I ended up moving him out of the way so that I could start drilling. So I drilled a pilot hole, and then I went ahead and used a hole maker. You can buy a hole maker or you can buy a paddle bit. They are not that expensive if you buy them on their own, but you definitely need a power drill for this. Now it's time to paint them, and I chose to paint them black because that is what matches our home decor. We have a lot of natural tones and then some black kind of industrial bits, I would say, and so that's what matches our style. But that is the beauty of DIY. You can paint it the way you want, or you can customize it to match your style. So if you want them gold like the inspiration photo, by all means, you can even buy spray can and spray it, and it's gonna look really nice. From afar, nobody's going to be able to tell that it's not metal. Does that make sense? Like, nobody's gonna be looking at your curtains with like a magnifying glass and being like, oh, that's not metal. No. Kitties were all up in my Kool-Aid for this video, so Sterling kept getting in the way and then he kept trying to mess with me, but we got it done. And then I chose to seal mine just because it's black and I didn't want it to get scuffed up, but you don't have to. It's just an optional step. Okay, the next step is going to be to countersink some of the holes because we want everything to be sitting flush. And then we want the holes where the screws are going to go that are attached to the wall to not stick out completely. Even though I ended up using toggle bolts for this part, I originally intended to use screws, and therefore I countersink, which it ended up looking good anyway, so I recommend that you do it regardless. 2 of the holes need to be countersink that way and 2 need to be countersink this way. Countersink a hole on the end of the rolls, the trim part, just because that's how I'm gonna attach it to the main rod. And I should have pre-drilled the holes on the actual holder that attached to the back plate or scutcheon plate. I don't know what you want to call it. But I didn't, so I ended up doing a template with some tape, and I scored the edges of it, and then I kind of marked them with a pencil so that I would have a clear layout, and I just taped it to the other ones. And that's how I drilled all the holes. Sterling is so cute. To attach the back plate to the actual holder, I drilled the screws in just a little bit so the end of it would poke through the other side. I'll give you a little close-up so that you can see. This will help me align the screws with the holes that I pre-drilled. Now for the fun part, we're gonna hang our curtains. Actually, first the not so fun part, which is that we have to measure where everything's gonna go and make sure everything is level. So measure twice, measure 3 times, make sure your curtains don't end up crooked like it happened to me before. So let's go ahead and measure. So once I had everything marked with my pencil, I used this little nail to kind of push in and mark exactly where the holes were going to be. I used my level to stay straight, and then I will pre-drill the holes for the toggle bolts. This part is really easy. You just push the toggle bolts through the hole and then you tighten the screws. I originally intended to use wood screws or anchors, but I wasn't going to go into a stud, so I decided that toggle bolts will give me more support, and that's why I chose that. My holes were still countersink, but these aren't the black screws that I had originally planned, so I ended up just painting them with the same black paint I had painted the entire thing. Now for the fun part. Let's hang these curtains. And they look really good, guys. I am so happy with this. I am at an angle right now, but you can see how pretty they look, how much nicer and thicker and more substantial they look. And you notice that that one didn't have a shear, and even though I left the space for a second hole, I didn't do it because that leads to my back patio and I didn't want a sheer curtain there. But for the other one that I did want a sheer curtain, I reused this rod that is the ones that I took down. I took the ends off and used that same screw that comes at the end of the other ones and drilled it into a different skinnier dowel. Same concept as before, it's just a skinnier size, and it looks exactly like the other ones. Okay, so now for the truth. Do I think that this was worth it to DIY? To me, it was. And I'm going to tell you why. A, I already have a lot of the tools. B, I have paint. And C, I have a little bit of basic skill. It wasn't too difficult. Anybody with no skill can do it. However, if you don't have a drill, you're not going to be able to drill those big holes through the wood. And then it was only cheaper for me because I have some scrap wood. And granted, you can go buy some scrap wood or some pieces of wood. It's going to be really cheap at Home Depot. So that's not the issue. The issue is whether or not you can drill the holes. You can always buy the hole maker and the paddle bit. Other than that, you'll need toggle bolts and screws and countersinking bit. If you are a DIYer, chances are you already have a lot of this stuff in your house. So this will be easy. It's a no-brainer. Do it. I think overall the only thing that I bought was the curtain rod, and that was $20. And then if I wanted to buy the big one, that would be another $20. So $40 for all of it. If I compare it, hold on, I dropped my notes. In comparison, if I was to order the ones from West Elm, I would have paid $289 $1,009 including taxes for the 3 that I needed. So 2 small windows and 1 large one. And if I had bought the ones from Bed Bath & Beyond, I would have probably spent $89.97. However, the ones from Bed Bath & Beyond were not wood, they were all metal, and that could have totally worked with my decor, but I wanted wood because I am incorporating that to my decor. There's no way I was going to pay $289 for curtain rods. I can tell you that much. $89.97? Probably, but why? It cost me $40 to do it, and it was fun, and I get to show you guys how to do it. So overall, I think it was worth it. Again, if you don't have a drill and if you don't have some of the basic skills, just go ahead and buy it. There's probably some local maker near where you are that can make you the plates, or order the ones from Etsy. I will link them below. I think $14.95 for each back plate. It's a very fair and reasonable price. So go ahead and do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. I want to make more where I tell you whether or not it is worth it to DIY some stuff, because I know that DIYing is not necessarily a synonym of cheap, and I hate when people assume that because you're DIYing it, it's gonna be cheap. It is only going to be as cheap as you make it. Remember that. Don't forget to comment below if you like this was it worth it kind of section that I'm doing. That will help me out to figure out if I should continue to do some of this stuff, because it definitely adds length to the video, but I think it could be beneficial if you're considering DIYing some of this stuff. Okay, enough of that. See y'all next time.
Like wow, like wow, like wow, like wow, like.
Oh, that looks good. I was gonna do one more bit that I just thought about. Thank you. Okay, love you, bye.